They did kind of, for off the track reasons, we've covered some of it on the podcast this week. If you're following us on YouTube, please go give us a shout out, or not shout out, a subscription, a like. We would appreciate it. We cover all the off the track and on the track news here, but they did kind of slip in before the race here today, Ad. Everyone's been wondering, it's the month of May coming up. Kyle Larson's not going to be at, the All-Star race practice. And everyone thought, Dale Jr. is going to be there. This whole social media rumor kind of spread a couple weeks ago with that Chase Elliott throwback. No, not quite. But a NASCAR legend will be in that 5 car. Drum roll, please. Wait, it's Kevin Harvick. What?
I'll say this. It was not the first time that. You know what? I'll skip that. But I'll say this: I'm excited to watch Kevin Harvick back in a Chevy. Definitely wasn't on my radar, especially because he's been so adamant about the fact that he was never going to get in a next gen Cup car again. But ultimately, this does seem like kind of like when Dale Earnhardt Jr. kind of picks his spots to run the Xfinity Racing. This feels a lot like that. Low risk with it being at North Wilkesboro, not going to be going, at crazy speeds. I'm just happy that somebody had the wherewithal to put this together. And, ultimately, I think we've talked about it a lot to where we think there's a lot of value in people who commentate the sport kind of getting in this next-gen car and driving it. So ultimately, this gives Kevin Harvick another experience, just kind of a refresher to kind of remind him of, of what he's talking about up in the booth, because I think he does do a good job when, they are properly covering the sport. But that's, we could talk about that every week if we wanted to, but it's not Dale Jr., but I certainly do like the pick.
Yeah, and 2 things you can look at. One is, Kevin Harvick was always a guy that people always said if he was in the best equipment, he would be probably one of the greatest drivers of all time. And all it took was him retiring and being in his mid-40s to get this opportunity in a Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet in the Cup Series. But all jokes aside, it's great to see someone like Kevin Harvick still around in the sport broadcasting, but also in the car, because when you're on TV, you can relay to the viewer what that feels like. And Kevin Harvick has obviously driven in this car before with his last few years, but now he'll have another experience more recently to be in that car, to see what it feels like, and to be in a different kind of team's environment and setup, and to see what that feels like. As a broadcaster, I imagine for him, that's an eye-opening experience, and that's going to help him long-term too. We'll still get Clint Boyer yelling, of course, over it, but for Kevin Harvick, I would imagine this is going to help him just relay information better too. So I'm loving seeing someone like that take, that seat instead of, a younger guy. I hate saying it, but for practice, you got to have some novelty at the All-Star race. You got to have something fun at North Wilkesboro. So great to see Kevin Harvick going to be back in that number 5 car for Kyle Larson while he is in Indianapolis, practicing and qualifying for the Indianapolis 500, that Hendrick 1100 they're calling it. Yeah, very, very excited, looking forward to that ad.
Yeah, I will say this: we do walk a fine line, because Kevin Harvick needs to understand that there is being, kind of coming back and running that one race and, having fun, and everybody's very excited to see you. And then there's how we feel about Jimmy Johnson right now. So, Kevin, just be very careful with when you pick your spots. We'd like to continue to think about you in a positive light. Just going to throw that out there.
Man, we want to see our idols, and we want to remember our idols fondly. So, yeah.